my other minutes.
Called this regular meeting of council to order here today, July 21st, 2020, Stafford County Annex. Are there any additions to the agenda?
I got one employee performance, probably 10 minutes.
Can't decide how many minutes I need. 7 minutes for a possible hire.
No, that's not long enough.
I would do 10.
It could be long enough, but we can do 10.
That's a higher thing you want to take for granted.
Are there any other additions to the agenda this evening? Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Any citizens' comments this evening? Consent agenda, approved minutes, regular council meeting, July 7th, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second on the table. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Appropriation ordinance 721-2020 in the amount of $90,151.97.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second on the table. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Abstain. Motion carries. Okay. Moving on. Electrical department. Jeff.
Couple of things. One of them really doesn't pertain to my department, but I kind of took it on. We've had some steering trouble with the backhoe here the last few weeks. We sent it to Murphy Tractor to have it evaluated. And at first they thought it was a simple seal in a cylinder on the front of the steering, but before we got done, it was everything that's there, or most of it. Tractor's 26 years old. As far as I know, we've never worked on the front end at all. And so they want to replace the ball joints, the tie rods, everything under the front end of it. It's what they call a non-power steer. It's about $5,500 to fix it. They've got it torn apart up there. So, and that includes hauling it up and back because we don't have a way to get it up there. So.
What's the hours on that backhoe?
9,000 probably, I'm guessing. You know, just under 9, 8 something. But, you know, it's made a lot of miles.
We need it,
Yeah.
whether we need to replace it eventually, you know,
Yeah.
I mean,
We can't replace the tractor for that, you know. We've
Right.
invested some money in it the last few years to try and keep it up.
right,
So,
we'll have water leak here soon and we need it.
oh, don't say that, please.
Well,
But it does happen, you're exactly right. I mean, we use it for everything, just like we do our other piece of equipment, so. But the first one was about $1,600, and I told them to go ahead and do it. But then before we got done, it was 3 times that, so.
Jeff, how long will it take if we get this approved, how long will it take to get it repaired?
They'll start it tomorrow. I mean, they have the tractor up there. They've had it up there all week, so. I imagine 2 or 3 days, I'm guessing, and they'll have it finished, depending on whether they have parts or not, so.
Okay.
But he kind of talked like most everything was there, so it wouldn't be a big deal, so. Anyway,
Was that a motion?
I'd make a motion to get it fixed for $5,500.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the table. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
the only other thing I have is we've had some storm damage here during our frequent rain showers here the last few weeks. And I'll update you on how we want to proceed. I've got a pole line out west of town going up to Cornwell Farms that sets in the water, a lot of it in the underflow. We lost a pole up there last week. We had an awful time getting to it. It's in 3 foot of water. So we got the broken part of it off, and we've got it suspended out there in between two poles, which is not really a satisfactory way to do it. But at this point, there's too much water to try and repair. So I'm looking at some options and maybe some steel poles. I've got 3 more at least that should be replaced. We've replaced 3 in the last year, or just a little over the last year. But the underflow out there is right just below the ground. So I'm looking at some steel poles. I'm gonna put some costs together on some of that, and I'll try and bring it to you at the next meeting. So other than that, I've spent my time grinding asphalt. That's all I've done the last couple of weeks. So anyway, that's all I've got.
Anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns for Jeff?
What, I know it's on old business, Jeff, what's left to do on Northwest Street?
At Allen's,
Yeah,
just getting that pad dug, and as soon as the backhoe's back, we'll get it done. That's what we got left. That's where we started the other day, when the full circle on the steering wheel started coming around. We thought it was time to send it to the shop.
Okay.
So that's where we're at.
And the water,
And what?
the water,
And
water hydrant.
I'm gonna see that pad. No, for the transformer that sits there. So,
Anybody else have any other questions, comments, or concerns for Jeff? Water Department, Jason.
On the water, I have an item I was looking at to finish up the KDHEs. We have to get that valve exercising going. And I had put a pamphlet in front of you of the Spin Doctor 800. I've done a lot of looking, and there's manual hard ones to use that you hold in your hand, and this is the best one that I could come up with that is human friendly. And this is the reason I'm liking that is there's a lot of different things, especially the main thing is it's easier on the body to run this machine, and it'll make all the employees to sit there and want to go do this work because it's just so nice to run it. He brought one out, we demoed it, and you can literally just take your finger, it's all on springs and everything, and just go like this, move it 180 degrees. And the others I looked at, there's 2 of them that you have to move the trailer every time you want to just do one valve. And this one we could turn sideways, you could use it for fire hydrants, and you don't even have to touch it, you just take it, turn it sideways, take off the cap, and then and then take it up and just spin the top of it and start turning your fire hydrants. This has a GPS on it that we have our mapping, so we could sit there and tell exactly how much torque we put on it. And we could put it on every individual one's on that mapping of what's doing what, if it's broke, if it's good. And it's already built into the 800. And I'm looking at, if we can, I would like to see us try to get this trailered. If not, we could just do the rear end, or the unit for the receiver hitch. But the main thing of it is, as heavy as that thing is, you'd have to have a tonner pickup, which there's one. And then you'd have to have 2 others help you unload it, to put the motor in the back of the truck, and then put it on the receiver hitch itself. And if we could get the trailer, then we could sit there and one person could just take off with it and go have fun. And that's why I'm liking this one the best after all of my seeing.
So you're looking at a grand total of $24,500
With the trailer?
with the trailer, right? Council?
how many valves do we have in the city, Jason?
368,
I thought it was
I think.
380, but
That's not counting the ones on the pressure side that just go to the nitrate.
Well, basically, you're running this basically because we have to exercise the valves once a year.
Yeah.
We got docked
yeah.
that.
And to tell you the truth, the old T-wrench with the cheater pipes on it, just after about 10 of those, you're just worn out. And then you take a better chance of getting upset with this and really cranking it, and you just snap it right off because you get so mad at it, because I've done that. And then this way it puts on, you can set your torque from 0 to 800 and start off with 80 to 100 and just let it just start just giving that little kick, and then maybe it'll just break on through. It's kind of like a hard bolt and nut with a impact, just easy instead of just jumping on that and breaking it. And that's what this is what the guy told me, it's about the same thing, which when we exercised that one, it worked pretty slick.
You said you've done, like, I like to have usually several bids, but there's no other company that sells this. Is this directly?
This is the one that is user-friendly by far.
Yeah, I got that, but like, as far as the people that sell this product, this is directly from the company?
This is through key equipment that goes through Herco, and that's the rep that sells it. And so Key Equipment's the only one in Kansas that's closed, that sells these. Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of money.
Where did we think we'd take the money from if we bought this?
That's what I'm looking at. I just got it today. And I was out all afternoon.
Well, we're not gonna vote on that tonight anyway. I mean, we talked about that, and research where the funding, I mean,
Well,
I'm not comfortable voting on $24,500 in 5 minutes. I'd like to read this and just.
No, that's fine. I told him when this is gonna be a fall project,
Right.
because that's when we do the hydrants, and I figured we could just do the hydrants and the valves all in one shot, because it'll be right there.
Yeah.
Okay, having said that, why don't, Jamie, you look and see where the money can be pulled from this, and then leave this on, put this on old business, and then we'll discuss it at next meeting.
You did demo one, I mean, you had one here for a day or something and ran around and used it?
Mm-hmm.
Anything else, Jason?
Just what I have on there is, we had a little lightning problem to get at the nitrate plant, and I was talking to Jeff, and I'm hoping we could get a tall pole mounted soon, and with the grounding run, and hopefully we could stop this problem with the lightning in the nitrate plant, messing up the whole works there. But other than the water, that's about it there.
Chip seal project, I guess.
Well, you have the water.
Well, look, I was just under his name, so.
Yeah, that was on the thing here, but I figured we'd talk about it during old business. Anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns for Jason? Moving on. Okay, Street Park Department.
Okay, on the, let's go over this, the chip seal. I got on the very back, there's the pricing for you. And all I did, I just priced the granite, because the limestone has been breaking down and it's just not good for the streets, and this granite is a lot harder rock. And that's why I just priced this. And if you guys decide that you want to price the only reason I wanted this one is to let you know is because we need like a month's lead time on this. And that's why I pushed this. And that limestone's okay. And it will be cheaper. This is the one I wanted to push because I just want the streets to be a stronger street and not bleed through as bad as like it is down here on First Street.
You have right now 10 to 14 blocks. What is it you're wanting to do, I guess?
Well, the ones that we've been patching, I started on, was the main ones is nutting. It's ready to go. The whole thing is ready to go. And then we got gray done. It's ready to go. And then I'm hoping that we could get the millings off the west, get that done, packed down, and then cut it. And then we could probably do west. But depending, I probably will start west first when we get it done, and then cut to nutting and go that. And that's the reason on there below there is Bob's Hauling sat there, and he gave us a price of the 4. And so I just put ×2 depending, and that way you guys could have a little figure amount of what you wanted, if you wanted to do this ×2, and then really get some more streets sealed up. That's why I did that. So you're looking at 10 to 14 blocks, you take it ×2, then you take it to 20 to 25 blocks. And that's why I put that ×2 on there, so you kind of have a figure how much you guys will want to spend on your blocks this year.
Last year we used the limestone, which we thought that was stronger. What did we use before that? We were using something different.
Sand.
Just sand.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The sand and the limestone both bleed with the heavy trucks, and they break down too. The granite won't do that.
The way the other streets look, and the other streets all around town, they have put granite down, because you can tell it's just a stronger rock. That's why you don't see a lot of it bleeding through like you did the streets we just done.
Some of these streets have been done 20 years, maybe more.
You just think when, like, it goes too far, like breaks down and goes into the,
Yeah,
That's
it
what
just
crumbles.
crumbles,
That's
and
what it
then your
does.
oil starts just bleeding through with the heat.
Yeah.
I do have information on the, limestone from Stone Sand. They did 3/8, number 2. I tried to tell them number 2. I apologized at the beginning of the conversation because I don't know a ton about it, but when I talked to Nelson, he got me prices for 1/4 inch chips and 1/2 inch chips. So I do have that if you do want to look at it. Just,
Limestone? Just how much a ton is it, Jerry?
31.75.
It's not 10%.
And I believe he said that, I believe he said this one is what the county uses, is what Barton County uses for their road work.
And that was 1/2 inch, you say?
A quarter inch chips and 1/2 inch chips are both 31.75 per ton.
I just as well pay the little extra for granite.
And I have information on the different quarries that they bring the rocks in from are a big difference, and Stones use 2 of the best quarries in the state, and he did send over like the inspection and everything for that as well, if that's something that you guys would like to look at.
So Jason, sorry, are you done?
I was just gonna say, I had talked to him about the granite, and he said he doesn't have a ton of people using it, but getting granite through him is not even an option probably for this season because of COVID and no one working.
So Jason, the material going, you're taking the material out of the road right now, right? And you're gonna put material back into it that you've
On the
ground? Yes,
Yes.
okay. So that, the price of that material, is it figured into here?
No, this is patching material that we're.
No, that is just asphalt out of the pile we're gonna put there, because we're only milling that down just shortly right before the curb.
And you're just using stuff that we've had from last year.
Okay, so we have some existing material down there.
Yeah.
We've only been milling about 2
Yeah,
inches. It's always been milled.
Compared to last year, we milled down 4 or 5
No.
inches, 6 inches.
We're not taking.
Matter of fact, there might be a couple spots that get hit with the grader. Because, I mean, we're trying to get it right to the, so we're just spraying and not having that much material on it to where we haven't.
It looked like we went a whole lot faster than last year, so.
Yeah, we're not.
We just, that way we can keep a base on, because all we're wanting to do is just get it right flush again, not, you know, because it's pretty hard underneath.
Okay.
This is just, all this is, I made the bid for 10 to 14 blocks, like I said, depending on the width, they're just vary. And then that's what the 250 ton of rock is to do that many blocks. So you figure with, we'd stop right there on Third, so it'd be all the way out to the concrete. And then whatever left we have over, we could always go to, Nutting and finish up more there, and hold off on the rest of that for next year after this, or whatever. I'm just throwing it out there so you guys know. Depending on how much you want to get done, that's why I took the times 2.
Where does that granite check come out of?
Wichita.
Where's the quarry in Wichita? Bring that in on the rail or something?
I don't know, months. They bring that in on the rail, or what?
I mean,
It goes into Cornell and Wichita, I'm not sure how they get it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Gotta be,
yeah.
you know, bring that in.
It's on hydraulics somewhere.
Well, I know our streets are in desperate need. We haven't sealed for a long time on some of these streets, and
Yeah.
I noticed, I mean, if you have a good game plan of where you can cover these 20, 25 blocks.
That's what I'm saying. We will get west done because they're not gonna seal till mid-September. So that will be done. Matter of fact, we're gonna do 2 blocks, knock on wood, hope tomorrow. And then that way we can keep going. And, because, Monday and Tuesday, probably Wednesday, it sounds like we'll be out at the sewer plant because they're gonna be here. So, that's why I wanna get that, at least I'd like to see West Street get done this week. At least with the concrete, or the asphalt on it.
So you're thinking some of these streets that you're wanting to seal, like, are not the same streets that you're going to mill down next year or the year
No,
after?
the ones like when I drew that map for you and the ones in yellow, those are the ones are ready. They don't need milled, they just need sealed, and I like to see them get sealed. So that way it just doesn't keep checkerboarding out,
Yeah.
and plopping chunks everywhere.
It's been a while since I've looked at that.
I'd like to see the ×2.
Yeah, I would too. I mean,
Yeah.
if the funding isn't there,
It looks like we got
Special highway.
148 in there.
As long as we can get it done and handle it, I'm all for it.
right.
That we have time to do 20, 25 blocks.
No, yeah, I talked to Phil and he said, you just, because I told,
I was gonna say, all the sealing will be done by the county.
yeah, it's all, because he
All
told
we gotta do
me,
is just get them ready.
he told me that he gave me the bid of just the, his labor. And then that's the bid, because he said, I'll just let you take care of, I'll just let you take care of the oil and let me know, I'll get the oil coming, and then you guys buy the rock. And he said, we'll get it done.
I bet if the county can have 20 or 25 blocks done, or whatever.
Yeah,
Oh, we
yeah.
can shoot 20 blocks in a day and a half.
So they can get it done in a day.
Yeah.
Does that mean is your schedule okay to have those blocks done by then? By September, whenever he's gonna do it?
Well, the only one we're doing now is west. All the rest we've got patched. We got Gray Street patched, we got Nutting ready to go, and the next one we were gonna work on was Fifth, and matter of fact, there's one patch all the way to the school, from what Gray to West, so I mean, all those are ready, except for one patch on Fifth.
We can get the blocks.
And then, so yeah, I mean, I'm hoping, knock on wood, I'm hoping that we get West out swept, oiled, and asphalted this week.
So what about that work you're wanting Mansell to do? Mansell
That was the
Concrete?
next deal.
What
Jamie and I were talking about, we got him to get a bid of there at the asphalt approach to concrete. And he's gonna take out the one section on the north from the crack where it meets, and he's gonna go back the same distance, back this way, 4 times 3, 12, 16 feet, that way. And then sit there and put that all one slope instead of, and then he's gonna fix the curb right there by the east side curb is pretty messed up through where the storm drain is. So that's included on that. But he did say that there is a hole forming down underneath, and I'm sure it's rainwater, that he doesn't know what's gonna happen when he gets down in there, and that's why he can't quote that much, that.
There's gonna be extra on it probably.
Yes,
once you get-
I mean, depending on what's wrong. I mean, there might be a hole in the pipe or something when he gets his foot, because that's like, from what I understand, that's like at the last part,
Yeah.
And so that's probably why it's washing out underneath there. So if he could fix that while he's down there, that would be the extra money.
And what's his time schedule, if you schedule it?
He said, he just told me it's gonna be a while. He said, that's why I want to be on the list, so that way I could put you in there, instead of keep putting you back. Because that way, I'd like to see him, hopefully, if we could get him on pretty quick, then we could get him on, or get us on the list, and then hopefully he will have that done before we get right there with the chat. So, I mean, if we could time this right, it's gonna be perfect.
He needs to do that before you put the material back down.
Yeah, I'll stop, I'm gonna stop, I'm just gonna leave the crumbly stuff right there, because it ain't gonna hurt that much to have it right there. And then, that way we're not wasting material when he pulls it out of there. Or I could put it down, take it back up, and take it to the pile for that much matter. Because it won't hurt it. I'll just mix it in with some new, the stuff we have, and just make it back.
Roll on to it, it
So,
won't hurt it.
I mean, we can even put the new stuff down for now.
What's the thickness of that concrete? Street gonna be?
6, I think it's at 6, yeah.
What about Fifth and West Street on the east side of the road, around the corner? They're pretty bad.
The curbing,
No,
yeah,
there's-
very bad.
And the catch basin
The
too.
catch basin's bad. That tree has done wonders for it.
Yeah.
I just hate to see, you know, we go in there,
Spend all the money and then it's.
mill it down, and then it's just, I mean, is that something, Chris? I know that's quite a bit, but
There's a half a block there.
half a block.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, there's a half a block that's bad. But even if we could get it sealed and chatted, we can still remove the curb behind it next year and pour the curb back.
yeah.
That's kind of what we were hoping for.
Because if anything happens, we could always dig that out so far back that he needs it, let's say a foot, and then take that stuff and put it right. We could either mix it up with some other, put it right back, spray it with a spray bar, and then throw some sprinkle some chat down there with a shovel, get it covered back up.
I think there's gonna be some pretty extensive work on that catch basin. And then about a half a block south, there's a pretty good hump and curve anyway. I mean, it's gonna take quite a bit of work to do that.
But
It's
see,
gonna
that,
take
there's again,
forms and-
there again, it's another, fifth, or nutting. Was it nutting between Fifth and, it's just,
There's
I barely hit it with the grader, just kind of skimming it off and getting the new stuff in there, and it just
fell off.
It's just flaking
They're
the whole
right in
way.
front of, right south of Roger Dick's house, in front of Matt Ward's.
Oh.
That curbing's just completely gone. Yeah.
So
And
we
those
just,
are spots we can repair, you know,
we just kind of filled it with oil and put some asphalt in it.
but it's gonna take some
now.
concrete forms and some time to do. There won't be no hand deal, it'll have to be done, it'll have to be shot in and done with a mule. That's right, you know. But those trees on Fifth Street are the biggest problem there because they've got that just roof.
Right, right. Trees need to be removed.
Oh, yeah, that's not a
Curb and
problem.
gutter need to be.
Yeah. There's several $1,000s there in repairs,
Right. I'm just,
yeah. But we can repair the street and still do minimal damage to the street, we think.
okay.
Yeah,
And come back in and do the curb. Because nobody drives over that far anyway, you know, but if we can get the main part of it sealed, why then we can solve most of those problems and then we can repair the curb next year.
Okay.
Well, I think we should definitely do that. Chris, get on the list.
Yes,
Definitely.
I agree, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
We need a motion. We gotta make a motion for that.
I don't remember the total.
8,500.
8,500?
And
And
it's maybe more than that,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'd just do the 8,500 and I guess we'll just worry about the rest later.
But in the future, I would want him to get more bids from like Stuckey and Smiley from Great Bend and Pratt. It just, we're not spending tax dollars wisely by taking one bid.
Right.
So, I mean, in the future, that's what I'd like to see, the big companies from Great Bend and Pratt, give them a chance too. Obviously, if Chris is a little bit higher, I'd just keep it local because it's employees and stuff, but I just want to be smarter about spending the money for the next time, once you get more that you want to do.
Okay. So, do I get a motion?
I'd make a motion to hire Mansell Construction to remove the concrete and fix West Street at the quoted bid of $8,500.
Second.
I have a motion and a second on the table. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Back to your oil, you've got it listed with the oil or with the polymer.
Yeah.
I mean, other than the price difference.
What's the difference, Jack?
Is one, I mean, is the polymer gonna hold up longer?
Phil told me that the polymer makes it, it's a better adhesive oil. And so I put it down there just because that's, he gave me the two prices and I put it there.
That's what we used last year.
Talking about $1,800 difference.
It's supposed to flex more?
It's flexible in the wintertime, more flexible.
That's what they say.
And you can look at it in the wintertime, it's quite a bit different. It's got some flex to it, you
I
know?
remember that from last year, we did that.
do that, no.
I guess I would make a motion to go with the
Yeah, for the
Palmer seal and granite chat for $49,110.
Is that through, is that 49,110 using Bob's hauling?
The times two is through Bob, because I figured you'd want to go through him since he's cheaper, so yes. Each one of those, the 45, 510, and the 49, 110 are Bob's hauling.
Okay, we have a motion on the
Second.
table. Do we have a second? Have a second. Any more discussion?
Do we have to worry about it if we run out of time or we don't get the, well, I mean, we for sure.
The worst thing that would not get done would be West Street.
Okay,
Yeah.
Because everything else is ready to go.
Everything else is
West
ready.
but West is close enough.
Close, yes.
I mean, the majority of West
Okay.
Street could probably be done. It
Right.
maybe not all of it, depending on
Okay.
Mansell.
Sorry, I just.
The one I'll probably leave behind, and it's the least worst, is Fifth. Because the Nutting, and then Gray, and then West are the main three.
Yeah.
And then if whatever's left, we'll take off and go that way and then run out. Try to do one block at a time, so that way it
I would
ain't
love to see
strict.
West Street done.
Oh,
That road is incredibly heavily used
Yes.
by heavy.
It's-
Okay, I have
it's-
a motion and a second on the table. Is there any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Jason, looking ahead, what do you think you're gonna be doing next year? Just asking. Yeah.
For all of Fourth, and then just kind of picture the other ones from there, see which ones, maybe all of Broadway. Broadway and Fourth is the main ones for next year I'd like to see get done.
I think that's a good idea.
Start scheduling the sealing too.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, is there any more questions, comments, or concerns for Jason?
Looks good, thank you.
Thanks, Jay.
Oh, yeah, the only thing left, guys, I just want to know what you want to do about the white GMC that's not, and I think we talked to you about it a couple times, but Jeff knows, it's something about the air system on
We
it.
don't have any brakes, 35,000 much as we can
And
get.
it's been sitting since last winter, and it's either,
I
we
helped
need to kinda
Mel
use
work
it.
on that. It's got a Detroit in it.
Is that the dump truck?
Yes, and it's up there behind, it's up on the back of the engine where the compressor is. And I helped him tear it apart once, but I don't think I could do it again. And it's a pretty good chore to get it done anyway, but the only choice we have is to send it somewhere. But where they're gonna have to come get it. We don't have, if it was in the winter, Phil would probably haul it down for us, but this time of year, they don't have the time, so we're about gonna have to have Southwest come get it.
It's just an air pressure issue?
Yeah, it just will not pump up, and it needs a dryer on it really bad, it just doesn't have one. It's an old trash truck, that's where it came from, and it needs a dryer on it, and it just, because in the wintertime when it gets cold, it freezes up back there and it won't. Something about the way that it picks up its idle, or I don't know what it is, there's something weird about it that Mel told me about that I don't understand, I'm not a mechanic, so. What's the word? Crushing. Crushing.
fixed.
Needs to be fixed.
The bed's the best part of it, let's put it that way.
Like everything else.
The old screaming demon.
Yeah, I'd be in favor of taking it somewhere.
I mean, it's just sitting there doing
Yeah,
that.
we could have used it several times, and it needs to be done. There's something needs to be done with it.
I guess that's the best place to take
Yeah.
it.
Like dirt falls and dust, it's sitting on great.
Yeah,
What's that place on the north side of Pratt?
Morgan Diesel.
No, clear on the north, like the north edge on 281.
Oh, right there on the east side?
Yeah.
What is the name of that place?
oh, you, Withers?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Central Truck, or Central,
there you go.
Equipment.
Yeah.
Central Truck Equipment?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mitch.
Mitch? Yeah.
Yeah, eat whatever you guys call
Somebody.
it. Somebody,
Somebody.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yes, get it in and get it fixed. So it's
Yeah.
fine.
Okay. All right.
They'll give it to us.
You get a quote, is that a motion?
Gotta get it in
Just
and
let it
figure out
fix
what's
it.
wrong with it first.
yeah.
just take it, it's like the backhoe deal, take it in, and if it's a lot of money, I guess bring it
Yeah.
to us.
If it's,
I mean, the
above
budget
your
is
spending
checked out.
authority, I guess, is my, if it's above your spending authority,
Yeah.
bring it back to us, I guess.
Find out what the, get it down there and find out what the cost would be, and then report back, give the information to Jamie, and she'll pass it on to council, and we'll discuss it next meeting. Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on. Grant administrator, we heard anything from Lisa? No, okay. All right, moving on. Police chief, Chief Adams.
Just got named one, Tori's belly flops with cops at the pool. Last Friday night went really well. She did a good job with it. Good turnout, so we had a good time with it. All the officers were able to be there from our department, so I think she did a really good job on that. Second thing, we did get another good find with Glenn on Friday night. So we got a pretty good stop out of him and an alert. We put the Dodge Durango in service as a patrol unit. Since we were down to the other guys using Tori's truck in 2 days, they put almost 1,200 miles on her truck in 2 days. We can't do it that for a long period of time like that. It's just too much. So I talked to Tim on getting my car outfitted because I don't have radios or nothing like that in there. He can't put, all my stuff's in but the console, and it should be in here tomorrow probably, but he can't put the stuff in it until the dog kennel comes in. It's all got to go in together. So he wanted to know the time frame on the dog kennel. I called the company back, and when they contacted Havas back, which is where the cage was coming from, they shut down during COVID, and they're only at 50% still right now. So it's going to be 12 weeks for that kennel to come in. That's why we went ahead and put the Dodge in, and I just got them in a berry crate in the back. And that's how we're using that. So I contacted American Aluminum. Here's kind of what my thought was. It cost us $471 more for that kennel, but they're going to have it here in 2 weeks. So in another week, I'll have the kennel here. My thought process is when we get that check, and I need to check with John, getting that check from Pratt County, taking that kennel price out of that check of the seizure that they have, putting that back into the emergency fund and basically paying for that cage out of the fine that we had down there, and then transferring the rest of what's left over from that cage over to our canine fund. Because it is going to the dogs, so we can still use that money, and we'll just, if we can replace it back in that emergency vehicle fund when we get that, to basically reimburse for the cage. Is that something that we can do with that coming in? Can we roll that into that emergency vehicle fund? I just was thinking about that the other day when we're trying to get the prices and get the cage here, because he can't do anything for 12 weeks if we wait on that other kennel. I mean, it was $471 more was it, but that was it's an actual better cage. They threw in a bunch of free options for me, but we paid the $471 to have it rushed to have it here in 2 weeks, so we can at least get all the equipment.
I'm not too concerned about however much money that's coming from Pratt for $400. Like, it will make it work.
Yeah, no. Do what? Yeah. So that's what I was saying. Putting that money back into the emergency or into our equipment fund, and basically we're paying for the cage and what our seizure was in Pratt on that car stop, and then whatever's left over, putting that in towards the canine fund, because we were going to put all that in the canine fund. But I think I would rather pay and put that money back in our equipment reserve, and then put the leftover over there. So it'll be $500-600 that we put back over into the canine fund, and I'm good with that. But that's where we are on the update of the car. I'm using it on patrol, but I'm just carrying a handheld radio, and I got one suction cup light in the front, but we can't get the rest of the equipment in it until we get the kennel in. So
Are you gonna do the whole kennel amount then, or just the 471 difference?
No, the whole kennel amount. Yeah, I'm gonna, out of that seizure there, I'll just go ahead and when we get that check, then we'll put that 3,100 for that kennel, we'll put that back in the emergency equipment fund. So we'll have even more now than what we projected back left over in that equipment fund. And then I'll transfer the rest of that money over to the canine fund.
Because
we were gonna-
you think we need it in the equipment fund more than we need it in the canine fund, I guess, basically?
I do, yeah.
Well, and, I mean, it's your guys' budget, but I do just want to point out something that crossed my mind is it might be better to keep all of that lump sum together in the canine fund so we know what's coming in and out and what our dog is producing and what we're spending.
What's the difference in price from this cage and the other cage?
$471.
That's the only difference?
Yeah.
I just
Yeah,
pulled
like I
the
said.
471 out of your reserve and leave your canine fund alone.
Okay, well, I was just
That's
trying
what
to
I
make
would
sure,
do.
I just wanted to keep a good amount in there.
I'd rather leave your money for the canine in there.
We wanna keep it itemized is what we all kind of talked about.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I think leaving it just itemized out,
I
leave the
think that's
canine
probably
fund alone.
the best idea.
Yeah, that was the only price difference was that they put the rush on it, but it come with they threw in the dog bowl. It's actually got a kennel light in the top of it, which we didn't have before in the other one. So, I mean, we did get quite a few little extras with this for the same price.
I'd just leave one.
Okay.
Okay, anybody else have any more questions, comments, or concerns for Chief? Okay, thank you, Chief.
Yep.
Moving on, Fire Chief, Chief Mark Sanders.
I don't have anything.
Anybody have any comments, questions, or concerns for Chief Sanders? All right, moving on, City Administrator Jamie.
I have been working with Economic Development. They've taken over the Spark funding for what was awarded to Stafford County. We'll be going to a meeting Thursday morning for that. Basically, I don't know if any of you guys have been aware of the Spark funding. We're just looking at expenses that have occurred or that we have had to use because of COVID. And then we can look at future expenses as well. So I have a few projects that I'm going to be taking to talk to Carolyn and Ashley about Thursday morning. So I'll keep you guys updated as I know more. I haven't really spoke about it because I honestly haven't had much information and really just found out about the 8:30 meeting Thursday yesterday. So So I will keep you guys updated on hopefully what I have a couple things in mind. So if you guys have any ideas and projects that we can have it relate to due to COVID, it's hard for me. So
It's significant amount of money.
I believe it was $850,000 awarded
First payment?
for Stafford County. So I've been trying to think of different things, but it has to be COVID related. So one of the projects we've been working on is redoing our website. We've had to have a lot more traffic of people using the online system. And then I have another one, but I'm not really sure about it yet. So I'm just gonna leave that one and I'll update you guys as I know more and if it can be.
I wonder what projects qualify for COVID projects?
It's expenses that you have had to pay out because of COVID, or say the school needs a new bus because they don't have enough because of social distancing, or
What about the pool? I mean, the pool didn't open because of COVID.
Carolyn had contacted the library and she was wanting to speak with Laura in that regards to try and find out if there's anything that we can do. So I'm assuming that's any entity that she can help out with this money.
I think that
with expenses.
they've reached out to several places. I
Right.
believe it's not just going to be me
Right.
and meeting with them. I believe there's several involved, and they are trying to reach out and get as much widespread involvement as they can. But it's so unknown, and I sat in a webinar with Ashley, and it's interesting, but they've hired someone to take it over. He's actually done some of my classes when I go to Wichita for my clerk school. So he does really good work, so I'm glad that he's taking it over. She had at first had someone on the East Coast that was gonna manage it, but I'm glad that we kind of got it back a little bit closer to home. I feel like that will be better with communication. So if you guys have anything that you can think of, well, yeah. Another thing is the playground equipment is on hold. Brown Park is a pond, I guess, when it rains. So I'm gonna go check at the end of day tomorrow to see if they can come out Thursday to finish, but it is in the middle of everything and we're waiting for all the moisture to go away, so. And I think the guys are spraying tonight for mosquitoes. I'm sure you guys have gotten as many complaints as I have about mosquitoes, so they'll be out again tonight.
Yeah, he said he might, get Wild Harry might do it at 5 in the morning again too.
Yeah, they're bad.
They're bad.
They're really bad.
Sure, if you find somebody to fly over there.
Yeah,
Okay, anything else, Jamie?
I don't think so.
Anybody have any comments, questions, or concerns for Jamie?
Jamie, this is Kate.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
But this may be under Lisa's, but could you communicate with Lisa about maybe the street signs around the school?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot about those
Just
actually.
thinking
Thank you.
school's coming up and.
We were waiting on the state.
for last year.
Right.
It was like a baby.
It was last year, right?
Yeah.
We were waiting on the state, though. The state was supposed to be getting
Yeah.
Right.
to us.
And then they
It's always
changed
somebody's.
hands and,
Something.
yeah,
Okay.
I'll look into that.
Goes to
Ross,
state.
Ross, you had a question?
You just send out an email about after that meeting on Thursday. I think that's countywide. They're drawing people in from every city and schools and libraries and so on. And I'd just like to know what everybody's ideas are.
Okay.
I mean, it's significant.
Yeah.
We should all see the benefit of that in the county, whether it's in our town or not. And
Right.
I'd just like to know the ideas that get thrown around.
Yeah.
But for sure, we have the money, we have, the county as a whole has the money, period, they have, it's no grant.
That's the way that I understand it.
That's the way it was explained to me.
The way I understand, they've already been given the 850,000.
And
So-
it has to be distributed by the
15th of this.
of
next-
August.
I think it's like 400 minutes.
It's
Now, Jamie, correct me if I'm wrong, but just about anybody can, that we recommend, that this group recommends, can benefit from this grant.
commissioner approval, isn't it?
Is it commissioner approval?
I thought that's the way I
guidelines.
understood it.
I mean, yeah, it's state guidelines.
I think
It's not
there's
just,
guidelines that you have to follow.
I don't know that-
Yeah.
I don't know how much involvement the commission
Yeah.
is having. I know that Carolyn got the reins, she hired the project manager, and, I mean, it has to be state approved. Like, I can't just go redo the website and
Right.
say, so it all has to be like pre-approved.
Ryan's idea, right, can that be used for the water tower?
Just an idea of the
He
project.
said that'd be
Yeah,
perfectly
see,
lazy.
and that's the thing is you want to be able to, infrastructure, and I'll be quite honest, my brain doesn't work well enough to mold it into some, like, I see it too black and white, like, it's broken, it needs fixed. I have a hard time saying, oh, it needs fixed because of this reason, or,
Right.
so, I mean, that's definitely something that I can bring up, but,
It's worth checking into, so, okay. Anybody else have any comments, concerns, questions, or ideas?
There'll be a lot of ideas thrown around that day.
Certainly hope so.
yeah.
All right. Okay, moving on, city attorney, John.
We've had kind of clearing up a backlog of cases in municipal court. We had several trials last week. But other than that, I don't have anything to report.
Okay. Jamie, did Jamie talk with you regarding the budget? Did you talk, well, I mean, we were-
Yeah, I think what you need to do, candidly, I think you have to do it or should do it in here simply because if you do it over there, you're gonna have people that may want to attend that aren't going to attend. I think you're just going to have to go into session and then adjourn to the annex.
go meet over there, adjourn, and then come here.
Yeah. I think,
Okay.
I think that's what you're gonna have to do.
Okay.
It was published with the wrong address on it.
Oh, you mean
Publication.
the hearing for the
Budget.
budget hearing?
I just, I don't know, I'm not saying nothing. No.
When we do, like I know, we're gonna have a citizen here to discuss drainage, and then we will have a representative from Viking here to talk about the water tower as well. So,
Is that at our next meeting?
that's it. August 4th.
All right, anybody have any comments, questions, or concerns for John?
We do have something to discuss under old business regarding the property code violations.
Okay. All right, moving on to old business. Okay, John, since you brought it up, go ahead and start it out.
Okay,
Please.
I think it's really
Um,
Jamie's show, but.
Yeah. So John and I have been in contact with all of the properties. We've kind of broken them up into ones that we can move forward with right now, and one that we might need a little bit more information on to be able to make the decision. I have 6, 7, 8. I have 9 reports that I'm gonna be moving forward on, with the different houses. 2 of those, I believe John is gonna have to look into the title just a little bit more. And then there's 4 or 5 that we might need to try to get permission from the property owners or, get district court to let us be able to go in the property.
So 9 of them, 9 of them you can tell they've got issues from the street. There's a couple that we probably, in order to move forward, we probably need to inspect the inside. And I'm gonna guess that none of those property owners are gonna give us permission to access that property, which is usually the case. So we would need to request authority from the courts to access the property, which we've done, and usually they don't respond, and we're 30 days down the road and we just take default judgment, then we go in. But I guess from you guys, do you want to see 9 reports next meeting and do a budget hearing? Or do you want to, because you're going to have to review the resolutions, pass the resolutions
Be careful how you answer.
On every one of them, correct?
on every one of them.
We have to do a resolution on every single property.
And some of these are going to have accessory structures that you're going to want to tear down at the same time because there's some pretty bad accessory structures. Or do you want to just schedule another meeting? Now it's not going to take long for her to do the reports. It's not going to take long once we get the form down to do the resolution. So it's not like we have to wait a long time before you can schedule another meeting. But
I mean, what are you suggesting, to do a special meeting to do that?
you're going to look at a long night on August 4th if we.
Why don't we just go ahead and do a
I
special
should say
meeting?
yes.
I mean, I guess I'm not understanding, because you can get it ahead of time and look them all over, and then come to the meeting and zip zap, go through them, isn't it?
Yeah, if you're ready, I mean, theoretically.
That's what I was saying, is just if we can get them ahead of time and have time to look at them.
I imagine that budget hearing is gonna get some discussion. I
Probably.
mean, we're anticipating.
People showing up for it?
This part of this dangerous structure stuff isn't as bad as I mean, you get with that resolution, you schedule a date for them to appear. So you might want to be careful how you tailor that, because if you have 9 families show up at once, I mean, at times, I think we've done 3 or 4 at a time, and it's taken a long time.
Those were our meetings we attended.
If we push it off to the next meeting, we're just pushing the whole process back another 2 weeks or
Yes.
3 weeks.
Yeah, because you
basically.
have to publish, and it's 30 days after the last publication notice before you can have your hearing. And it has to be published 2 weeks in a row, so you're talking 45 days at least.
I see.
And you can't put anything in the paper, you have to have it in the paper the Thursday before it actually publishes too.
Okay, so for timing.
Yeah.
I had a question. When you publish, it has to be newspaper? Like you can't do
For the-
social media?
Yeah, for the,
You have to have a legal newspaper for your publications, it has to be printed.
How many total properties do we have?
13,
maybe 14.
14.
We gotta talk to Alan about one.
Oh yeah, I got a little bit on there. I did get a hold of the new owner at 401 West 4th, East 4th again. Meneses had called and they have some trees kind of swaying over on Anna's roof, so I just randomly tried calling again, and she actually answered. And I reminded her that we're mowing, and that each time we go over and mow, it's at least $250, and that we're starting the abatement process, and she seemed a little bit more willing to donate the property. So I need to call her tomorrow. I may or may not have more on that, but I did get an answer this time, because we went several months without her even picking up my phone calls, so.
Good.
I mean, this kind of stuff always makes me nervous, but these are bad looking houses, these first 9.
And I mean, we could even do like 3 or 4, the 4th, and then on the 4th, we could schedule a special meeting or,
I just assume do them all at once.
I'm fine with whatever. I mean, I'm gonna be glad to get at least 13, 14, 15, or whatever they are, houses going to.
Do them all at once on a special meeting right that night. I'm thinking that.
I can sit through a 4-hour meeting, I don't care.
I mean, you'll get the reports, and we'll even include the resolutions. And I will do it so that we can just handwrite in the dates for the hearings. But you'll get the resolutions in your packet, so as long as you've looked through them and decided how you would treat them personally, then there'd have to be discussion on each property, but it could be done pretty quick.
That was my vision. Let's just get in the packet, gives us 3 days to look over it and go look at the properties personally. And I thought it'd be a quick deal, but
What the rest of council think?
I don't have a preference, whatever, either way.
What, you've got pictures and everything. I guess my only thing is if we're gonna do it all at one time, I want more than 3 days to look at stuff. I'm not gonna go look at 9 properties.
can I propose, I get the reports done, I get them to you, and then I will contact everyone for a special meeting date to see when people are available. And then that will give you guys the time to be able to look it over. Like, you can have the information, and then we can move forward on how long you guys will wait.
I would put better than that. I mean, I'd rather be able to focus on just the properties and not worry about the budget and everything. But I don't think 3 days is enough time to really get around and assess 9 properties.
Is that okay with the rest of council? Okay, go ahead. We'll do that. All right. Okay, anything else off of old business?
We take the fountain off? Or
no,
not?
it's a great idea. You beat me to it.
I'm game for that.
Till next year.
Maybe by next meeting, we'll have the electric project and the sewer report. Because the sewer, is that the sewer line report or is that the sewer pond project?
I don't think we got a sewer project on
Okay,
that.
it's both. Never mind.
Well, the sewer project I do have, a call into SAK Construction. I have a message in with them about lining and how we need to go about that, and just trying to see how we can get what we do have to them to be able to get a quote on, because you know, when we looked at the tape, we just kind of have the sections, and then Pam highlighted in red the bad spots. But I'm also I don't know that the bad spots are places that can even be lined. So I'm gonna be looking in. I want to get them on the phone so they can kind of guide me and tell me a little bit more information on how we need to move forward with those things.
The swimming pool, is that on there for the leak that we're monitoring, or is that on there for next year?
Kind of the leak
planning
and
ahead?
the quote. I don't want it to get through the cracks again.
I'd like to see a quote from Warren Brothers,
Yeah.
just to leave it on there.
Yeah, I'll call Chris again here in the next week or so and see if he has something.
That'd be a deal we do in the fall or in the spring, or how does that?
Do it whenever they tell us they
Yeah.
can do it.
Yeah, I think,
I guess you just schedule it in advance, do it next spring.
yeah.
The leak.
What about the leak, Jason? Has it got worse? Is it still there?
I haven't seen it. I seen it wet there a couple days, and after that, I didn't see nothing.
No loss of water? I mean,
Not too
outside of the
bad.
normal?
Bad.
I've been up there a couple times and I haven't seen it, but
It's not going down, and we're just not seeing it, as in going under the ground rather than coming up. I mean, we're not making a sinkhole underneath.
the concrete's, I don't know. I
I mean,
guess
that joint's caulked pretty well, with the evaporation, it's kind of hard to tell this time of year.
that could probably be monitored by looking at the meter, right, with everything shut off. So, I mean, it's through the
It
meter.
evaporates.
Right. If it's leaking, right?
Well, it's, yeah, but we'd have to shut the pump down. If that's the one they're talking about, it's through the pump, after the pump.
Oh, that's not the fill.
No, that's not the fill, it's after the pump.
Yeah, it's on the return.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, never mind.
Okay, anything else under old business? All right, new business, baseball field.
So I gave you guys the football field contract just to kind of refresh your memory on the agreement that we have with the school district. Danton, I think Danton and I talked about it. It was either Danton or Trey. We talked about developing a contract, kind of like the football field, with the rec for the baseball field. So they would ideally lease it from us. They would be in charge of everything, and we wouldn't have to worry about the maintenance or what goes on.
I'm fine with that as long as it's spelled out and we have a way out of it and they have a way out of it.
Yeah, and this has no insurance provision. The city ought to be named as a second insured on their insurance policy, so we would need to make sure something like that happens.
I'm fine with it, like I said, as long as everything's spelled out real good and we have at least a 30-day notice that we can get out of the lease or the contract with them. And they have the same right too. I don't want to be tied up into something that we can't get out of.
Right.
We've been there before.
What would be your suggestion on the years that you would like to see this contract be good for, so we can have that all typed out?
Well, if you got a 30-day termination clause, you could just do a 3-year or 5-year or whatever.
I'd even do 10 years.
So I was gonna say 10 years.
Yeah.
10?
Fine for me, yeah.
Okay,
So that's a most recent school contract we have,
Well, the
because it was
school-
only 10 years, so it expired already,
15.
wasn't it?
Yeah, you guys
Well,
signed,
what they renew it for
18.
though.
Yeah, I'm not-
you renewed it
See, they renewed it for 20.
2038.
That was done, when did we do that?
In 18?
Yeah.
Huh.
I'd do 10 years starting out.
Yeah.
Like I said, as long as we got a 30-day notice of both direction, I'm fine with it.
That's a good thing.
Yeah,
It's in
yeah,
place.
yeah,
Yeah.
We'll get that for next meeting.
Okay. All right. We have a 10-minute executive session, to discuss employee performance, to include
Council attorney, Jamie. Everybody,
Make that a motion?
yeah.
Okay.
Second.
I have a motion and a second on the table. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. We'll resume at 15 after. We have another 10-minute executive session for possible hire. Jamie, you want everybody around the table? Okay.
Second.
Have a motion and a second on the table. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we'll resume at 25 after. Call this meeting back to order. I'd like to resume the previous executive session to include everybody back in here, this time including Jeff. About how long do we need? 5 minutes?
10 minutes? Yes,
Probably,
Saturday.
I like the 7 deal today.
7 minutes?
7 minutes.
Let's go with, if we're gonna do 7, let's go with 10.
Let's just do 10.
Okay.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second on the table. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We'll resume 8:35.
90 days.
Call this meeting back to order.
Yeah. I'd make a motion to hire Brian Hernandez Banderama at $15 an hour with contingency that he moves here within 90 days and a 60-day review. Is that right?
Yes.
For the electric.
Good luck, department.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, having no more business, I entertain a motion to leave.
So moved.
I get a second?
Second.
Okay, motion and a second on the table. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Meeting adjourned.